Hello everyone and welcome to episode 3 of the Spectrum Gaming Podcast. This time we're going to be talking about the good and the bad of school, and everyone will be sharing their experiences. So let's introduce you to everyone who's joining us today. And the question of the week is, what is your least favourite video game and why? So Charlie, you can go first. What's your least favourite video game and why?
I'm going to say Batman Arkham Knight.
And why Batman Arkham Knight? Because
the combat in it is so weird. You just press the tap button and then you just appear at the enemy and just start going. It's just like, normally you have to at least somewhat be in the direction, but you can literally, to win a fight, just keep pressing attack and just not even pay attention, and you could beat it without even looking at the screen. So there's just no point in the combat.
Well, if you're a sole loser like me, that means it's an easy win, so it wouldn't be my least favourite game, but yeah, good choice. Well, Harry, you're next. What's your least favourite game and why?
Well, I mean, my favourite game used to be Fortnite, but it's now my least favourite. The player base is just too toxic for me.
Yeah.
It's just too toxic.
They tried to call me toxic.
They've yeah. No, yeah. But yeah, the player base is too toxic and the game has just been ruined, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, cool, that's understandable. I think a lot of people have stopped playing Fortnite recently. So, Niall, what about you?
I mean, my least favorite game, honestly, is this like really bad survival game called Unturned. It's just too many mechanics. Like, yeah. Too many big zombies too.
That's cool.
You can't even get out the spawn area without dying half the time.
Yeah. Cool. And Kieran, what about you?
It's Fallout 76 because it was just unfinished when it was released, and I'm not trying it again no matter what.
Yeah. Well, I've got a quick story about Fallout before we get to today. So I played one Fallout game, which was Fallout New Vegas. I played for about 20 minutes. I got to a point where you have to walk across a desert, and we have these freaking gigantic spiders that chase you all around the desert, and I couldn't get past them. I had about 30 tries, and I just rage quit and haven't played since.
Oh, you mean the weird crane fly, weird things?
All I remember is they were insects, and they were really big and really scary, and that was
it. Oh,
it.
yeah. You will get demolished by them.
Yeah.
You've got to stick near the cities on the road to go to different areas, to different quests, or you're going to get demolished in, 2 shots.
Yeah.
Or just cheat.
Cheat
the game.
Thank you for the advice of a game that I'll never play again. Yay!
Hey.
Anyway, on to today's topic, which is good and bad school experiences.
Yeah, let's go on to it.
We talk about this quite a lot in Spectrum Gaming. I think the main thing which we talk about is how school seems to be a bit of a one-size-fits-all thing. So for a lot of people who have differences such as autism, you don't necessarily get the right support which works for you. So yeah, we just want to. People say sometimes it's a bit like trying to fit a square peg into the wrong hole, but then into a round hole. But then for some people, school is actually a good experience in the server as well. So the first question we're going to ask everyone is, what do you like about school? And we'll go to Kieran first, if that's okay.
Oh, mate, what? Oh. I like it because I actually have friends there that I can talk to, have fun, and the teachers are actually quite nice at my school.
Cool.
Luckily.
Yeah.
You know.
And what about you, Charlie?
That it's not that long.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel bad. It's not like 12 hours or something.
Yeah, why would it be?
So technically, that isn't really what you like about it. It's just that that you don't like it, so want it to be as short as it can be. Okay, cool.
I mean, I do. I like how short it is.
Yeah, perfect. So, Niall, what about you?
Honestly, I just like how embracing the school community is, because I mean, there's clubs for just about everyone. I mean, obviously none of them are on at the moment because of this pandemic, but but at my school it's just it really embraces all sorts of lifestyles. For example, for me, I really like reading and computer science, and they've got a ton of clubs for computer science, and we've got this really good library. All closed at the moment, unfortunately, which is cool.
It sounds like you go to you're in quite a positive school environment then, because I know other people who love reading and computing and stuff, but they don't really have extra things for them to get involved with related to those.
I have to be completely honest. in terms of the computer science stuff, I run half of those clubs.
Yeah, cool.
Lucky.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds good. Thank you. Well, Harry, what about you?
Oh, right. So at my current school, because I've been to 5 now, maybe. So my current school, my teachers, obviously, my teachers understand my diagnosis, and one of my favorite teacher, he is really understanding, and he every day I do go to school and go into his class, he like his banter is so understandable and really like enjoyable to just listen to and be there. So
Hmm,
that is something I really do like about my school currently.
cool.
But yeah.
That sounds good. Well, thank you very much, everyone. Unfortunately, even though people have mentioned some things which they love about school, and for example, some people in Spectrum Gaming said, Tony said he loves going on trips out to new places. Someone else, like Charlie, said they just love coming home after school. And Skully said he loves meeting new people as well. But unfortunately, there's a lot more which people say they don't like about school rather than what they do like. So let's talk about those next. And Harriet, you're more than welcome to go first.
Okay, right. So one thing I do dislike about school, and it's not like my current school is really good with it because it's a more specialist center for me to go to. But something that I obviously didn't really like about my secondary schools and primary school, um, their support for people like me, I guess, that just aren't very good socially, their support was lacking like really badly. And one thing that was an issue was when I was being bullied, the way the teachers and staff would deal with it is they would single me out and put me into like a room on my own instead of
Mm.
punishing the bullies. And obviously, because it's a group of bullies against just me, it's really difficult to get my side heard, which is something I do dislike.
Yeah, it sounds really difficult. The
Yeah,
biggest thing which people in Spectrum Gaming say they don't like about school is bullying. I was
yeah.
bullied at school as well for my differences, so I completely understand. Um, yeah, it's not just the bullying; it's also how teachers deal with it. Sometimes it isn't noticed. Sometimes a teacher knows that you're being bullied, but then they don't really do the right thing to help. So that's a few of the things that I've come across. So Niall, what about you? Have you got any thoughts?
Well, for me, it's just like, I mean, bullying isn't much of a problem in my school because the teachers are really on it. And honestly, over time, people would genuinely become more interested about my disabilities, and then. But there are those few people who still try to wind me up because they see me as vulnerable, but when I'm really not. But honestly, if I have to choose one thing, it is the noise. Because I mean, as a deaf, as I am deaf, it is and autistic. It is really hard to cope with noise sometimes, and sometimes when I've like had a hard day or something, I'd often find myself going down asking my phone tutor if I can have lunch in my phone room because the canteen's too noisy or something.
Mm.
Yeah, and honestly, it is really because there are plenty of quiet spaces I can go to. It is a really good place, but noise is definitely one of the worst factors for me.
Yeah, thank you. And why is it? Do you think that you find noise more difficult than most of the other people at school?
I think it's just something to do with, I honestly I do think it's something to do with like how I'm deaf, because I mean I can get really overwhelmed by noise because because my implants they are really good in like mapping out where I'm talking to, but sometimes it does get a bit overwhelming. And then if I'm like not having a great day and there's a lot of stuff going on in my head, it just kind of just shuts. It just kind of starts to shut my head down, and it just makes me really panicky.
Mm.
But it is but the support at my school is brilliant, and it really helps.
Yeah, cool, thank you. There was three other people when I was chatting yesterday who said one of the biggest things is when people in school don't understand their sensory differences. So for people who don't know, autistic people can be under or oversensitive to each of the senses, and the biggest things which people say they're affected by is the noise that happens in school, but also lights as well, because the lights can be really bright, and a lot of people really don't find them sensory friendly. But if other people don't experience the sensory differences which you have, they must really struggle to imagine how it feels for you as an individual. Um, yeah, it's interesting.
I mean, I mean, I mean, in that like in the sensory part, I mean, it is really because like my four mates, they are really understanding about the noise, and I really appreciate that, even if they are a bit immature at times. But I think the main problem is when it's just like a really big group of people, and I'm just like in that group of people saying like a noisy canteen or something. I'm just trying to talk to one person, but there's like 100 other people in that room, so it is sometimes rather hard. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Well, Charlie, what
yeah.
do you think? Is there anything that you don't like about school, either your current school
See,
or any previous ones?
so for me right now, it's the way they handle technology. So they have a class called technology, but then it's just modeling things with wood, which
Yeah.
feels not real. Like it's not like they're doing it with a computer. They're literally just picking wood
Oh,
and
oh,
nailing
design
it
technology.
together, and it just feels like that's not really using technology. It's more just like woodwork,
Hmm.
which kind of just feels a bit like, wow.
Yeah, that is an interesting one. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's just the name they chose for the subject, even if people don't agree with the name, because it does seem to be more sort of design and woodwork than actual,
Yeah.
electronic technology, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So, Kieran, what about you?
Honestly, my current school, I've been going there for way too long now, like 4 years. So I don't really remember my last school. But
Mm.
the thing bad about my current school is, I need to actually think. I don't know, honestly. My school is actually decent.
Yeah. Cool. Do you
I
think?
would say my English teacher, but I'm not going to say that because I'm not mean.
Well, you said it now.
Oh, yes, my English teacher. Everyone else at my. Okay, sorry for this rant, but it has
It's
to be
okay.
said. Every other
Uh,
teacher in my school is like, understands how to act with kids with disabilities, autistic children, because my school is literally a school for children with disabilities and stuff. And my English teacher, he came in like last year. His last school he taught was a regular secondary school with like 1,200 people, and now he comes to my school, a school with 50, 52 people, with people everyone has a disability in my school, and he just is too strict, and doesn't let people explain. We've had my classmate and my personal mate chuck the chair at him. I don't even have his. I'm not even in his class anymore. And I'm just going to stop ranting before this takes up like 2 hours.
Oh, it's okay. Thank you for
Because I'm
sharing.
just going to shut up. I know, mad.
It sounds like a difficult situation to be in. And actually, when we asked Inspection Gaming, the second biggest thing behind bullying was having bad teachers or staff not understanding autism and how to best support them. It's not just that, but also not actually asking people's opinions on what could be the best way and taking their views seriously. So that was a very interesting point as well. One person said their biggest thing is teachers being clueless as to how they see the world and how it affects them. That was karma.
No,
The other thing which a
that's
few
actually
people said was when other kids are being mean and they're not understanding either. Yeah, interesting points. The next question then, which I'll open to anyone who wants to answer, is what do you think could be better about school, or what could fix the difficulties that you face in school?
I'll go first. I think there is just one major thing that it could be done either way, but teachers need to know more about like people like us with autism and stuff. I think teachers need to be educated a little bit more about how we handle the world.
Yeah.
And also if it's like say PSHE, like just teaching children about mental disabilities and things,
Mm.
which could obviously help in real world when you're older, so everybody's educated about what others see the world as.
Yeah, definitely. So you said one of your biggest difficulties at your last school was bullying. Do you think that would fix the problem?
Well, I honestly, I think the bullying was because I was different, and maybe if they knew why I was different than everyone else and why I was doing sort of my own thing, it could have made the people that were bullying me understand a little bit more. But yeah, so that could help, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Well, Kieran, did you have any thoughts on this?
Oh, how to improve school, you say?
Yeah.
Because I'm in year 11, I think, lots of GCSEs like English, maths, other stuff. Oh yeah, science. If you do science GCSEs, they're exams, like big 2-hour exams. I understand that you might get extra time and be able to take breaks. Actually, I don't know what I'm going to say, but like there should be like more options.
Mm.
This is personally from my school because I don't know what other school is like. I got a choice. I get to pick art or DT. That's it.
Design
And then they
technology, is
make.
that?
I picked art
Yeah.
because DT is kind of boring. You get to do maths, English, art, or DT. So 3 GCSEs and 1 BTEC.
Mm.
That's nowhere near enough.
No, you would have preferred more choices.
Yeah, because I would happily have picked ICT, science, but we don't have enough school time to do science in my school because you do like 9 lessons a week
Yeah.
and it's way too long.
It sounds
My
like a
friends
shame.
are all
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna go learn somewhere else to get more GCSEs, and I'm like, oh hell yeah, I'm getting art. I'm, I don't know what I'm gonna say. I'm only getting art GCSE because I'm not smart enough
Mm.
to get anything else. So I wish there was more GCSE options at my school.
Cool. Yeah, that's an interesting point. And it's a debate quite often about which sort of school would be better. Whether you can go to a mainstream school which offers more GCSEs, but it could be a much less supportive
Yeah.
environment, or go into a specialist school where people understand your needs more, but then you're restricted in how many GCSEs you can actually get.
I know you need a good mix.
I'm wondering, Niall, what are your thoughts on that?
Honestly, my school's really good, like I've said, and I'm honestly not sure how it could be improved. But like listening to everyone else's, maybe like maybe they could like take like maybe at the end of like each year. So for us, I'm just gonna take a guess here and say that in some schools you leave at year 11, and and basically maybe like when they leave they ask them to do a survey and then they can like improve like the experience on that. Because for example, the one about like the limited GCSE options, if you feel like you are if you feel like you're good in several more fields than you're being given, maybe you could tell them, and then like they would just like look at your performance in those fields, and it would help you decide whether you should or should not take that GCSE along with the others you're taking. Yeah.
Thank you. And do you think there's anything that could be improved in your school in particular?
Um. Um. Honestly, and there's not too much that can be improved in my opinion. But I mean, sure, some of the teachers are a bit strict, but that's just how they are in general. But they are usually really understanding when it comes to like people with disabilities. Not just me. I mean, I know a lot of other people in my school with disabilities, and yeah, it is a really good school. I'm honestly not sure how it could be improved, to be honest.
That sounds really
I mean,
great.
I'm sure there are ways, but I'm not sure.
Cool. I think in the whole of Spectrum Gaming, there's 4 people in total who say they fully enjoy school and can't think of any ways it can be any better, and I think you're one of them. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it sounds like a really great situation to be
I'm
in.
not. I'm not saying I fully enjoy school. I'm just
Yeah.
saying it is just a really good environment.
Yeah, cool. That sounds great. Well, Charlie, what have you got any thoughts on this?
I just because I don't know, on mainstream and specialists and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I say the fun. Yeah, I've been in both mainstream and I'm currently in a specialist I've been in there for a few weeks. But with mainstream, I also it was kind of like they did basically all possible disabilities, but then didn't realise that they. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh, this person has autism. They don't know anything, and do you know, like they didn't realise each person with disabilities is different. It was just like, oh, they've got this. Well, they must have all these symptoms, which kind of is just like annoying.
Right.
Well, with specialists, it kind of is more like, they can, because it's it's a small school, they can kind of more say that person has these, that person's these needs, that person's this. So it's more like they know they can actually properly do it rather than just basically saying, oh, they've got this disability, well, they must have all the symptoms.
Yeah, definitely. So you're saying in mainstream it feels a bit more like because you have an autism diagnosis, people expect you to be a certain way or act a certain way,
Yeah.
and expect you to benefit from the same support that every other autistic person has. When in reality, every autistic person's different and should be treated as an individual. Yeah, cool. So you said you've used in mainstream, but you've recently gone to a specialist school.
Yeah.
So feel free to answer for either of them. Do you think there's anything that could be better or could be improved?
I don't know.
Don't know. That's okay.
I'm trying to think. I think they should, for me, they should, I don't know.
No, that's okay. So some of the thoughts which other people have shared. So Egg said that they hate it when a supply teacher comes in who doesn't necessarily understand everyone. So they get shouted at a lot when there's a supply teacher, when on a normal day the teachers understand them as an individual, so it doesn't happen as much. Tony said he'd love better school dinners. Karma said everything. Someone who named themselves Big Chungus said their favourite thing would be if there was no one actually at the school. And Peppy Gaming said children being nice and understanding, teachers helping more and having more patience, but also shorter days. So yeah, that's quite a lot. I have a question for you all actually as well. I'd love to hear your thoughts on. So it comes with a discussion point quite a lot. So I'm just going to ask it: which one do you think would be better? A school that thinks that they get everything right and understand your diagnosis perfectly, or a school that doesn't necessarily understand everything but always tries their best and listens to what you're telling them? Which one do you think would be better? So that I didn't phrase that very well. So imagine a school that has a sensory room and a breakout area and the teachers all understand what autism is, or a school that doesn't know as much but their priority is taking your views really seriously and always responding to what you say. Which of those two do you think would be better?
I think it would be like the second one, because I mean honestly I think autism is still a fairly new concept, and then if you try to learn everything about it, it kind of becomes a bit more of a stereotype than anything else. It kind of becomes like, oh, you're autistic, you have to act like this, but if you're in a school where it doesn't know everything about autism, but it knows a good amount about it to help you, and like they listen to your views, they know how you deal with things, and they can create an environment suited to that. It really, I think it would really help the learning process for if you're going to a school like that. And honestly, specialist schools, they're good for people with like more severe types of autism. I don't know if I said that right, but but like a mainstream school, I find if you go to a mainstream school and you've got like just a mild type of autism, it really helps you like with your socialization. It really helps you like see how you can more easily fit in.
Okay, well, thank you. We're going to be actually talking about this sort of mild and severe thing on episode 4 of a podcast, which is explaining what autism is. But in short, I think people don't really use the terms mild and severe anymore, and the reason why is people say if you call someone severely autistic, you're my brain's just gone blank. You're sort of hiding the strengths which they have, but if you call someone mildly autistic, you're hiding the challenges that they face. Because the sort of approach perspective people are moving towards is autism isn't a sort of a line between mild and severe. It's more of a bit of a circle, and you can have sort of mild or severe difficulties with each individual trait of autism, if that makes sense.
It's just I honestly didn't really know how to phrase that. To be honest,
right.
it's just like so I just went for like one of the more more used like examples. To be honest,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you. Does anyone else have any thoughts?
Yeah. To be honest, I would go with the second one because I don't even really know that much about obviously autism that much. I don't know that much myself, to be honest. And for a school that would want to listen to me and would like take my thoughts into account instead of a school that just knows everything, I think like people listening to me and listening to what I think about things would be a much better situation than just them knowing, and that's it.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. Well, have you got any
I wanna-
thoughts? Yeah, Charlie.
Yeah, I don't. I say the second one because while it's not, it might be a bit tricky. Eventually, it would actually turn into better than the first because they'd actually have all those things that are needed, and also still be listening. Because if they keep listening, then eventually they'll add things that are needed, and probably things that are probably needed, not just things that the internet or books or training, whatever they are, says are needed.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. So, Kieran, have you had any thoughts on this?
Oh, took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say that. So I got nothing else to add now.
Cool. It's a really interesting. I've talked to quite a lot of people in Spectrum Gaming about this. You have this sort of dilemma where sort of, for example, a teacher or a member of school staff has said that they're unable to support someone because they don't have the right support or the right spaces in place and that sort of stuff. But then when, just as you guys proved, actually the most important thing may not be meeting every single need and getting everything right. The most important thing is being willing to try and to learn and even just apologising when you get something wrong and trying to work with people to do the best they can. But yeah, it's a really interesting debate. Yeah, cool. So we've got one more thought for everyone, which is one of the things that a lot of people asked us to talk about is the concept of bullying and the impact it has on mental health. So I don't know if anyone wants to talk about what bullying feels like or what you think the solutions are. Does anyone have any thoughts related to that they want to share?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, sure.
So the first thing you said is what bullying feels like. Hell. I think actually like bullying is definitely one of the worst things that could happen to you in school, and the way that teachers in my schools have dealt with it is just horrendous. Like, just bullying should be like understood by teachers and it should be dealt with properly, but it for most, like lots of people, it just isn't. It's horrible.
Yeah. So if you told a teacher that you were being bullied in school, what are you hoping that they would do to help with it?
Well, the least I would want for them to do would be listen and try and resolve the situation, which barely ever happened. So.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, go on, Charlie.
I like to phone. I did slightly, and the thing is, I kept telling teachers, and then and it got to the point where I did react, which I do remember doing. But then the teacher was like, "But you never told us." And it was like, I told you multiple times. I can list multiple lessons where I told them again and again, and they were like, "Oh, but we didn't get that on camera," because they claim they have 138 cameras or something, when in reality half of them are, like the elf cams that you can get in like the market or something, where it just looks like a camera but isn't actually got anything in it and doesn't record or anything. So it's just like, what's the point?
Yeah, definitely.
I
think
that is so dumb. I mean, cameras do, yes, they help for proof, but maybe if you actually listen to someone's evidence, maybe you don't even need camera proof. That is dumb. Wow.
I think I understand that experience as well, because when I was at school I was quite badly bullied, but then what happened was, if I told someone about it, it was your word against the group of bullies who would come up with their own little story, and then because it's one against a group, it's always them who are believed, so then you carry on being bullied, and it's such a difficult situation where not just do you feel really lonely or have really negative feelings because you're being bullied, but it's even worse, made even worse by the fact that people don't really believe you or don't really help as much as you would like them to. So yeah, it's
I
definitely
mean,
not good.
I don't think I get bullied that often, or maybe I do. I just don't really have that much. I'm not really bothered that much by it. It's just, yeah. I mean, at my school, it is known that because it is like hard. It is hard to do stupid stuff at my school and get away with it because I mean we're all everyone like pretty much everyone like tells the truth at our school and they just like and the teachers are really good and they know who the troublemakers are. So if like you're getting bullied by a group of people and then you go and tell a teacher and they confront the group of bullies and they come with some other story, they're less likely to believe them because they know that they are troublemakers. So I feel like that is a factor of it, like how well known the bullies are to be bullies.
Yeah, definitely. Cool.
To add on to that, one thing that did happen to me in primary school mainly is I would tell the teachers repeatedly. Like it would I was bullied so often that it was almost like every break time and lunchtime that we were just out in the school playground, something would happen and I would tell a teacher and it just they would ignore it. And it got to the point where it was so bad that I just stopped telling the teachers about it and just was like, well, you're not helping. What's the point in telling you? Wasting my breath. But I had this really good friend, and she told her mum that I was being bullied at school, and then obviously because I just wasn't telling my parents either. So she told her mum, and then her mum told my mum, which obviously my parents then found out that it was all happening. But it's just the teachers should listen to everybody, even the troublemakers. They should still listen to their side and the story. But it's not even like they listen to them either. It's just they don't listen. It just they don't, and they don't have any intention of listening. If it was physical abuse, like if somebody was getting beaten up, then they would step in and they'd put both of the people, even if there's just a kid there that's getting beaten up and is not fighting back or anything, that kid would still get put in like detention or something. It's so dumb, and it seriously needs to change, in my opinion.
Definitely sounds like it. So I've got one last question for everyone. So if there was one takeaway point for anyone who works in your school that you would want to share, what would it be? The main thing that you would like to share?
Listen to your students. Like, I mean, I don't care if you claim to have cameras everywhere. I don't care if you need camera proof for bullying. Listen to your students. Listen to their stories. Just like try to help them, because I mean it's really not good for their mental health if you just ignore them, and it can be like just really damaging. So just listen to them.
Definitely. Thank you. Anyone want to go next? Go on, Harry.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna, like, you've basically stole the words from my mouth. Listen, and just like teachers should listen and deal with it. That's literally all you have to do, is just listen. You've got ears for a reason, and you should use them.
Thank you. Well, Charlie, have you got a point to share?
I would agree. Just listen, because then they can sort out like what the child needs, bullying, all of it. If they just listened, maybe have even just like something small. It'd be good to just listen. Like they could have like a post or something where it's like someone can put it in to say, here's what I think. There's some way for people for them to listen.
Yeah, thank you. Well, Kieran, what about you?
So about listening, like if you don't just listen to the people that need help. Listen to everyone, and eventually the truth you will be able to mold everyone's ideas into one and be able to find the truth somehow. Because people, my school, say if there's a fight at lunchtime, the people at totally other side of the school will hear about it, and sometimes there'll be like some lies going around. But truly listen to everyone, and you'll definitely find the truth. And don't just believe the groups of bullies. because the reason bullying doesn't stop is because there's the one that bullies, the one that joins up with the bully because he doesn't want to get bullied himself. Because if you bully people, it's just because you have your own problems and stuff you have to deal with, but you don't know how. Like, just listen and help everyone, not just the people who need it.
Yeah, cool, thank you. So it sounds like the strong takeaway message is, to anyone here who's watching, the one thing you need to do more than anything else is just listen, which Harry has shared backwards for extra effect.
Wait, is it backwards for you?
Yeah, that's backwards.
For me, it looks backwards. Hold on, ready? There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Just listen.
There you go. Yeah, just listen.
So the important thing
Sorry,
is-
what you need to take away from this.
Yeah. So even if you
Yeah,
don't
so if-
understand,
I mean,
go on now.
Even if no teachers watch this, I mean, like, if you're an adult and you know someone who's a teacher, just share this video with them.
Yeah.
Because I mean, just spread the word.
Yeah, definitely. Cool.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, we have the internet for a reason, people.
Yeah. So even if you don't understand what someone's going through, or you're not sure about what they're saying, or you're uncertain, just being there to actually listen and acknowledge what they're saying and take it seriously can be much more important than anything else. And it sounds like that's a great point to leave a podcast on. What does everyone think?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you everyone for joining my podcast today. You've all done an amazing job. And if you watch my podcast, thanks for coming, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.